Now, so this is what is the y-intercept? When we look at this problem, right here in the center of the graph, where the line crosses the y-axis, that is called the y-intercept. In this case, we use the letter B to represent that. The B in this problem is the number 4. The slope, which we use the letter M to represent, if we follow the line, we can't really tell where it crosses in the corner of a box when we go left to right. So we're going to go backwards and see where it crosses in the corner of a box, and we can see that it crosses right there. And so you draw straight up and straight across. You'll see that this is 4 and that this is 3. So the slope is 4 over 3. You want to check left to right. This is positive. So for the y-intercept, it's the number 4. For the slope, it is 4 over 3. The equation of the line would be y equals 4 over 3 x plus 4. And then you can move on to the next question. Now, this is a graphing one. It says y equals 2/5 x minus 3. Remember that m is the 2/5, the minus 3 is the b. We always start with the b. The y-intercept is what you start with. So you're going to click on where it says line AB. You're going to start at minus 3. Well, minus 3 is right here on the y-intercept. Now you'll notice it's formed a line for you. You want to go back and click on that B. And then you're going to go do what the slope says. It says 2/5. So that means go up 2 and over 5.
It won't let me put a dot.
You don't need to put a dot. You need to click on the line where it says line AB. And that will get you to start. And so I'll show you again up here. So if it's clear, you click line AB. It says start on -3. We're going to click right there on -3. It'll graph a line, but it's not the right line. On the B, you're going to hover over, and then you're going to, it says 2/5, so up 2 and over 3. And that would be how you graph a line on this. Looking at question 3, it's the same thing. M and B are in the same thing. It wants us to graph it. So it says start at +2. Positive 2 is right here. The slope this time is -3/4. That means go down 3 and over 4. And I'll graph a line that looks like that. So just to clear it again, you click line. You start with +2. +2 on the y-axis is right here. And then down 3 and over 4. Are we ready to move on to the next question? All right, the next question, it says match the slope and y-intercept to the proper equation. It says slope m is -4, y-intercept is -3. So we need to find a problem that ends in -3. Well, we've got 2 that end in -3. We need to find the one that has a slope of -4. It's the very last one on mine. So you click and drag it over to the top. Who said something? That say y equals -4x minus 4? Or -3, I mean. It says, for the second one, it says slope is -3 and the y-intercept is -4. So we're going to look for one that ends in -4. There's 2. We want the slope to be -3. If you look, the second one, y equals -3x minus 4. And then The last one says slope is -4 and the y-intercept is -4. Well, there's only one left that says -4, which is the second one, the middle one here, on mine anyways. And you're just going to click and drag that over. You want to make sure that your slope and your y-intercept match for those. Once you're done, you'll click to the next question. Question 5 wants you to write the equation. And the equation, we have to know what b is. The b of this problem for me is right here. If you look at your own screen, you'll see that it's -1. If I follow that line left to right until it crosses again in the corner, which is right there, it's even got a dot there for you, you'll see that it's going down. So we know that the slope is negative. It goes down 2 and over 5. So this is -2 over 5. So then the slope, the equation that we would write would be y equals -2 over 5. And then make sure you click beside the 5 and then type your x. And then the last step would be to type -1. So you should have y equals -2/5 x minus 1. When we look at problem number 6, it's the same thing. It wants us to figure out what the y-intercept is and what the slope is. So the y-intercept for this one is right here. It's between -2 and -3. That means it has to be -3. The slope, if we follow the line left to right this time, you can see it's going up. And then it crosses again right there. It has a rise of 1 and a run of 2. So the slope is 1 over 2. The equation that you type in is y equals 1 over 2. Click beside it, x minus 3. Y equals 1/2 x minus 3. The next problem says, look at the table and figure out which one is the table matches with. So this says the b is 2. We did this a long time ago, and I'm sure you probably forget. If I write this as an ordered pair, right, the second number, the y, is a 2. Who remembers what the first number is? It's always this number. 0. And so what I do is as soon as I know 0, 2, I go through and check my graphs. That's got a 0, 2. This does not have a 0, 2. This has a 0, 2, and this has a 0, 2. So I can eliminate B for my choice. The next thing I need to do is figure out which one has a slope of 3. And if I have just 3, I can write that as a fraction by just putting it over the number 1. So on A, 2 to 3 is +1. On X, it is 0 to 1 is +1. So this slope of the first graph is 1 over 1. Not going to work. The slope of graph C goes up 2. On X, it goes up 2. So this one would be a slope of 2 over 2. Not going to work. Now, that means that D has to be the right answer, but you can double check. 2 to 8 is +6. 0 to 2 is +2. And then 6 over 2, if I was to reduce that, would become 3 over 1. So it has to be D. Now, if we look at the next image, for this one, it says a hiker is hiking down a canyon toward the canyon floor. On the graph below, you can see her height above the canyon floor as a function of time. It says select the meaning of slope. It says slope means. And then you see a drop down box. It says slope represents the feet per minute the hiker is going down into the canyon. Slope represents the starting height of the hiker. Slope represents the minute per feet the hiker is going down into the canyon. If you remember from the last time, it's always going to be the title of this per the title of this. And so slope literally means height above canyon floor per minute. So when I choose my option, I want to go with one that sounds like that. Slope represents feet per minute. No, that's backwards. Slope represents the starting. No. Slope represents the minute per feet the hiker is going down into the canyon. It's the top one. So slope represents the feet per minute. So if we look, it's feet here, minutes here, feet per minute. The y-intercept always means what? It's the starting point. So find the one that says the y-intercept represents the starting. It says the y-intercept represents the starting height. For this one, it just wants you to give the slope. So how much, what's the change from here to here? Plus 4. What's the change from here to here? Plus 1. So again, rise is the y. It'd be 4 over 1. Very good. And so this would be 4 over 1. You also could just type this as 4. And the last question is a handful of true or false questions based off the graph. It says slope represents rows per chair. It should be chairs per row. So that's false. Slope represents the number of chairs per row. Chairs per row. So that is true. There are 60 chairs when there are 3 rows. The easiest way to do this represents 3 rows. Draw straight up until you hit the line, and then draw straight across. When there are 3 rows, there are 60 chairs. So that is true as well. There are 20 chairs in one row. Row 1, straight up, straight across, 20 chairs. That's true as well.
So the first one false?
The first one's false, the rest are true. Now, this is what you can expect to see as your test on Friday. Tomorrow, we'll do a practice test that's similar to this, just so you can see how well you'll do. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask.